With assassination threats aside, hello and welcome back to the second part of episode 3 of Film Focus, our weekly independent film review show. Yay!
Yep.
Where we're looking at 2 more films and 5 more trailers, all vary by the numbers here.
So I'm Anthony Squire.
And I'm Fred Black, and this week we are starting off talking about Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which has got several nods for multiple awards in all the awards.
It's only got
It's got
very good reviews.
Yeah, very good reviews. One of those 5-star jobbies. Like everyone gives it 5 stars no matter what they think of it. Apart from here.
It was a good film. I mean, basically, espionage veteran George Smiley is forced out from semi-retirement to uncover a Soviet agent within MI6. It was good. It wasn't... If you think of spy films, it wasn't Bourne or James Bond. There weren't any explosions.
I'm sure you were very disappointed with that fact.
I was actually.
You.
There weren't any explosions, no slow motion sequences, no getting off with every other woman at James Bond. And
no, there wasn't any of that. No, it was a very different
was a proper serious spy film.
Yeah, it was a very different type of spy film to what people, I suppose, what modern audiences are used to. I mean, it's a remake of Alec Guinness TV series, like a 6-episode TV series or something like that. My friend has it back at the flat.
Oh yeah.
At my flat, and I haven't seen it, but it's a remake of that, and it was very, very. It took its time to get everywhere, didn't it? It took its time to build up and let you know exactly what was going on, and I liked it for that. I thought, just a film that takes its time and doesn't feel rushed to do anything.
It took a bit too much time. But what saved it for me was the acting and the story. Oh,
the acting is superb, isn't it? I mean, you've got Gary Oldman as George Smiley, who puts in... I mean, he's fairly muted for the first 20 minutes of the film or so, and then he just suddenly kind of starts working his way up, and he's very good. And you've got Colin Firth you've got Colin Firth, you've got Benedict Cumberbatch, who everyone seems to know as Sherlock. He's in the new reboot of Sherlock. You know Sherlock? You know Sherlock Holmes. But no, he plays Sherlock, I think.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, he plays Sherlock.
Yeah.
He's in that new modern... I haven't seen any of it, and to be honest...
You should have seen Sunday's episode, it was really good.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying it's really good, but for me, a modern version of Sherlock Holmes...
They did it really well.
Doesn't sound... Yeah, but...
I mean,
does it beat Jeremy Brett? Like Jeremy Brett, Sherlock Holmes...
80s one?
Yeah, the 80s one. Jeremy Brett and...
I can't par with it.
Ooh, there's a lot to beat there. But anyway, you've got Benedict Cumberbatch and, John Hurt is in it for a little bit as well as Control. The plot-wise, I liked it. I might have just been in a really dumb mode though, because I had to rewatch quite a few bits to kind of fully understand what was going on. I had to kind of rewind it about 5 minutes and then listen to it really carefully. Maybe I was just frazzled from work.
I do know what you mean. It is one of those films you do have to make sure you listen to every sentence.
It's like one of those Inception style things, isn't it? You can't walk out for 30 seconds, come back and expect everything to be the same.
Yeah.
Because there were just loads of little shots that only lasted 5 seconds or so. But, they meant something. Every shot pretty much meant something, didn't it? It moved the plot along in some way or another.
It was a good film. I just feel it just got dragged on, but the acting saved it, the story saved it. I would recommend watching this one.
Yeah, because I would recommend it. I mean, it's probably not the best film of the year. Everyone was touting it as one of these incredible dramas.
Yeah, if you can ignore the hype, that goes with. Well, basically nearly every hype type film.
Yeah, we've had 2 films this week that have been incredibly hyped up. We've had this and we've had Drive last episode.
Yeah.
I think Drive deserved the hype. I'm not sure this deserves as much hype.
I don't think this deserved the hype. It was a good film, but it didn't... the hype wasn't necessary.
No, it definitely was, worth a watch. I mean, in terms of British filmmaking, you get so many like pointless gangster films and football hooligan films and all this sort of stuff. That
Cockney accent.
Yeah, I mean, ever since like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels came along, you've had this just slew of gangster movies are cool, and British movies have just gone, we'll go down that road, or they go into kind of graphic horror with 28 Days Later was made, and you have good. All the and that started off like British horror, and now you've got nothing really in between. So for something like this to come out, it's a remake, but even so, it's one of those things that it'll definitely spur on more of the same. And I think you probably need more of this sort of cinema because it's engaging. Definitely. I mean, I didn't feel like I'll just pause it for half an hour and go do something else. I was definitely kind of gripped by it.
Each scene led on to something else, so obviously they do, but it kept you interested.
I know some films don't seem to have a plot at all. Some days,
you just got me thinking of Cockney accents. I think of all those films set in prehistoric times. The time of the dinosaurs, but the blokes will still have a
"Oh mate, what are you doing?" Mate. All of them sound like Ray Winston or Vinnie Jones or something.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. I've just mentioned Vinnie Jones, and now I've just got in my head, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh god, yeah, from
I've got X-Men 3 in my head, which is probably.
Don't you know who I am?
Oh, exactly. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, British films just seem to take that sort of road, don't they? With they're either gangster or horror. And for something to come out like this, I mean, of course we've got James Bond and stuff like that, but
James Bond is out.
James Bond is a bit of a joke.
It's the last book to film was The Living Daylights. Timothy Dalton. License to Kill was good, but it's too bad Timothy Dalton didn't stick around for more because he was much better than Pierce Brosnan.
GoldenEye. I still vouch GoldenEye as being actually quite a good film.
To me, GoldenEye is just about passable, but the ones after that, they're so awful. They romanticise the bad guys. Like, I think it's is it Tomorrow Never Dies? Or
I watched there was the first half hour of that I watched on TV before going to bed one night, and it was just utterly rubbish. He's got the remote control BMW, hasn't he? And he's sitting in the back seat of the BMW, just remote control. You're just thinking, this is just so fucking daft. It's unbelievable.
I think it was Die Another Day when was it Die Another Day? Oh, the world is not enough. Where the bad guy just says to the woman he's sleeping with, "You love Bond more than me." And I kept thinking, no, Blofeld would never have done that. Blofeld would just put him in a piranha tank or something.
Yeah, you're in love with someone else now. You must die. It's just, but it's good for something like this to come along, and even though it is a remake, it's good for something like this to come along, so we can start,
revamping.
We can start revamping stuff like this and putting more serious films out there because maybe I've missed the whole slow British cinema that's been really serious and groundbreaking over the past few years, but I don't know of anything that's come along that's been as good as this, and definitely grabbed as much attention and hype as this. I mean, this got 11 Golden Globe nominations, or 11 something like this. 11 Golden Globe nominations.
Yeah, I didn't.
Or 11.
I thought it was a good film. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't deserve. It doesn't deserve that kind of. It only got those credits because of the actors who were in it. If they'd been just as good actors but unknown actors, it would have gone. It would have been advertised as very good film, but it wouldn't have got half, not even a quarter.
Of the I imagine so.
You throw in someone famous and everyone's like,
everyone. Well, and this does have probably the creme de la creme of British casting as well. Gary Oldman, John Hurt, Mark Strong, he was in that The Guard we watched last week. Was it last week?
The Guard was the week before last.
It was the first week we did, and then he's in Sherlock Holmes as well. We got loads of British actors that are they're so hot right now. Just to quote Zoolander there, which is also a classic film, but I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 7 as well.
No. For once we agree on something.
Yes, comrade.
For once, comrade, we agree. I don't think it fully deserves all the hype. I mean,
it does.
It does. Probably 4-star reviews and stuff are pretty accurate with it. But
I'd have gone with more 3.
But
3 4 stars. I mean, I'm just repeating myself now. It only got the hype it did because of the actors who were in it. It's a shame that was the reason, but it was still a good film to watch. It does drag, but at the same time, it does keep you interested.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we can say about it, really. It's just, again, it's good this sort of film comes along to kind of revamp British cinema a little bit, but at the same time, it's not for just an average movie watcher, I don't think it's one of those things that will probably engage with a wide audience. It has done, obviously, but
again, only because of the actors
only because of the hype surrounding it, and people buy into the hype. And for us, just watching it was, I would watch it again, but I'd have to wait quite a while.
I'd have to give it at least 3.5 years.
3.5 years. Yeah. Now you're just being silly there, man. 3.5 years for that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think that kind of wraps up our review of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah. So moving on to the trailers.
Oh, we've got the film trailers of this week. And
First
we start
one,
off...
Beauty and the Beast cartoon 3D.
Cartoon. Yes. Beauty and the Beast 3D is...
Why?
I think we've had at least one discussion about 3D films every episode, and every part of every episode since we started the show. But they keep bringing out shit in 3D. You've got Star Wars, you've got Titanic, and now you've got Disney releasing. I mean, they did it with The Lion King. Recently, they released The Lion King in 3D, and now they've got Beauty and the Beast coming out. And it's a long time since I've seen Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, but being in 3D is not going to make any difference.
It's not going to make... No, it's going to be the same film you remember from yonks back. Or, if you're a child and it's your first time seeing it, just buy a DVD. It'll be cheaper. You can probably buy it for like £3 or something now. If you go into some like HMV, it's probably just on DVD for £3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you're going to waste £8 on some converted 3D technology.
I've said it before. I mean, everyone knows for 3D TV, you have to sit directly in front of it. So if you've got like 5 or 6 of you watching it, you're going to be...
Yeah, we want to be in it now.
So you've had 5 minutes, it's my turn.
Yeah, I want to see... Oh, there was no 3D. And especially, like, some 3D films don't even have, like, the entire film shot in 3D. Or they're...
No, it's just for the sake of it.
I remember going to see Coraline in 3D. Yeah. This is when 3D was, like, this big new thing. And there were sections of it. I was wearing the glasses and I was sitting there going, there doesn't look to be anything kind of sticking out from the screen. Because it is fairly noticeable when something is sticking out, when you can see the 3D depth perception thing. And I was like, nothing looks like it's sticking out. So I took off my glasses. True to form, when if you take off your glasses during a 3D movie, the screen looks blurred, doesn't it? It looks blurred, it looks a bit interlaced and everything.
One thing I find funny about 3D films in the cinema is they don't take into account people who already wear glasses.
No, yes.
So you're basically wearing 3D glasses over your glasses.
Yeah. But for this section of Coraline, I took off the glasses. Nothing was blurred. The picture was normal, as if you were watching it on a regular cinema screen, as if you were watching the 2D version. And I was sitting there going, that's awkward. That's odd. And I just sat there with my glasses off for like 20 minutes with no 3D in it. So it was this entire, for a film that had been marketed as being like, 3D rich, there was a whole like 20-minute section of the film that didn't have a single 3D shot in it, and I felt cheated out of my fucking money, really.
I'm surprised. I can imagine the creators of the film, oh, we weren't aware of that.
Yeah, you bloody well were. But that being said, Coraline was a very good film. Beauty and the Beast,
Beauty and the Beast, it's a good story, but there's no need for it to be in 3D. It's just doing it for the sake of it, like all the other.
Do you think when it comes out in the cinema, we'll just rent the DVD and watch it again? We'll just rent a DVD and watch it and go, yeah, that was quite good actually.
The 2D version.
Yeah, the 2D version. Yeah. You think we'll just do that? Just boycott 3D films. Just the two of us boycotting 3D films.
Yeah. What a stand we'll make.
Of course, we'll start a movement. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, we kind of. Don't care about the 3D at all.
I suppose if you haven't seen it before, you're better off waiting for the 2D version, or just stick to the 2D version.
Well, you can already buy it, obviously.
Exactly. Don't waste your money on this.
Yeah. So moving on to our next trailer, which isn't in 3D. Shocking behaviour. It's The Forgiveness of Blood, which
Curious about this one.
It was a curious sort of trailer. It didn't seem to be about much. I mean, the farmer and two farmers have a dispute, and it leads to some sort of house lockdown.
Yeah, basically he's stuck. Basically, the family is stuck in their house. The kid gets taken home from school.
Yeah, there seems to just be kind of civil war between two farms essentially, and it just kind of escalates and builds up to mob level, I think. But
so I got a really violent version of Neighbours going through my head.
That would be an awesome idea for a film. I'm just putting that out there. A mob version of Neighbours would be great.
Howard Bishop with a missile launcher.
Yes, that'd be so cool. And incredibly stupid, but
it'd be beautiful.
This looked really serious, and all the hype about it. There were loads of quotes going across the screen.
Back to hype. If you ignore the hype and stick to what the actual story is, it could be good. I'm curious about it,
but we don't really know that much about it, though. So
exactly. So that's.
I mean, it keeps us interested.
Reason to be curious about it, not because of someone or some newspaper said, "Oh, 5 stars. It was amazing. It was astonishing. Nothing like this has ever been number 4." Not since the last time. But
yeah, not since that film a few years ago.
Yeah, which everyone conveniently, which the media conveniently turns a blind eye to. Still, moving on to the next trailer.
We will. Yes. Oh dear, no.
October Baby.
Actually, can we skip this one, please?
It's basically One Tree Hill. No,
well, yeah,
it's not anyone from One Tree Hill. It's just One Tree Hill style. I'm a teenager. What am I going to do with my life? Oh my god, I was adopted.
Yeah, it's not even anything like that. It's adopted. This woman finds out she's adopted, or she's in foster care, and she doesn't know who her real parents are. So she appears to set off on a
quest,
kind of road trip across America to find her real mother and father, I think.
Yeah.
Apart from that, doesn't seem to be anything other.
It had the corny background music.
Oh, it had the choose life, choose love.
The cheesy acting, which I'd expect from One Tree Hill. Come on, if you haven't seen One Tree Hill, the TV show, it's just.
I haven't. I'm glad for it.
The acting is beautiful. Well, it really is. The cheesy acting, the waves of moral message in every single scene.
I think I have seen some One Tree Hill because my sister watches it quite a lot, so I've been exposed to that atrocity. And the OC and 90210 and every sort of American college drama that there is.
I love these dramas because you've got 30-year-olds playing 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah, and no one seems to care though.
The teachers or the lecturers look younger than the students. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's all that drink and drugs and cigarettes that they're doing. It makes them look older, Yes, that's exactly what it is.
But yes, stuff. I want to see this one just for a laugh because the acting's going to be beautiful, beautifully bad,
come out in Blockbuster,
beautifully cheesy, and
I can imagine we'll have a fight in Blockbuster over this. You'll be like, "Come on, we got to see this." No, we don't see this film. We don't want to see it. Yes, we do.
We've got to think of the team and the audience.
A team is me and you. The audience is one subscriber at the moment. It doesn't really matter.
I'll put that to one side.
But yeah, the next trailer we move on to is something completely different. It's Resident Evil 5, is what I've got down here. Anyway.
Explosions, slow motion sequences. I'm sure there's a story in there somewhere, but
probably not. Resident Evil stories just went. There's zombies. There's little mutant creatures that Umbrella Corporation are investigating and developing, and then there's Alice, a super soldier in the middle of it all, and she just blows shit up for the hell of it, really.
Come on, you're going to have missiles and rocket launchers and machine guns and slow motion sequences.
As always with these things, the first film was the best, but that's not really saying much, as it was your Saturday night popcorn flick, kind of mix of horror and action. But then they just took it to every single film after that has been Alice, played by Mila Jovovich, who is the wife of the director. So that kind of helps. Which is why
I can imagine actually coming home for a meal. I'm looking for someone to be in my new film. I don't know where to start. I'll do it.
Yeah. She really doesn't talk like that, but okay.
Putting that to one side.
Put that to one side. But yeah, and the last 4 films, the last 3 films, and this film looks to be the same, is just Alice fighting back against Umbrella Corporation. So it's one woman fighting back against Umbrella, you're not going to win. Every film is going to end the same, with Umbrella having some secret underground base that is still operating, and will go,
the bad guys.
Activate Project X or something.
Project X.
Actually, speaking of Project X, I did not plan that at all. But it leads on to our next trailer, which is quite conveniently called Project X. I'm actually quite proud of myself for doing that little segue there.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was. It was really shit, wasn't it?
I was pretty fucking nice. It was good.
Anyway, Project X. Yes, we're not too sure what to think of this.
It's just another teen.
Well, you are actually okay.
It's another sort of teen drama. You know, some high school kids in the US throw a house party,
which goes mega out of control.
In the trailer, like, the house is on fire.
There's someone flamethrowing everybody, apparently.
Yeah, it's all. Well, to be honest,
it's just that the story seems to be a house party gone way out of control, to the fact that they only intend to have like a simple house party, birthday party kind of thing, and it turns out like more than like 1,000 people turn up, or like 200, 300 people turn up.
Yeah,
I may have been exaggerating, but
it's basically. If you take previous teen drama, American teen dramas like American Pie, with the house parties, they can see all the jokes that have been done before, and they're just taking it to an extreme. So basically, if they take it to an extreme, it's either going to be hit or miss. It could be bad, it could be funny, just because of the over the top.
The thing is, though, this is the Todd Phillips. This is from producer Todd Phillips. It's the guy who did The Hangover, and I don't want to mention the change up, but he did the change up. So
That look on your face don't change.
Yeah, I don't. It's
scarred for life.
I'm
For me, it's Apollo 18.
Yeah, but I don't understand. It's the same guy who's produced it anyway. But for now, that name doesn't really ring, a good film to me. It doesn't really say, "Oh, this will be a really good film." It kind of says to me, "This will be a stupid, crude, rude teen comedy."
Yeah, and that's basically what it's going to. Well,
that doesn't really appeal to me.
I'm not going to watch it at the cinema, but if it happens to be around a mates when it comes out on DVD and they've got a copy of it, yeah, sure, I'll watch it then.
Or we'll probably watch it for this show, won't we? Yeah.
Are you sure you can do that?
We have to take one for the team, don't we?
We certainly do.
Which I think would end our little trailer stint.
Bringing us on to the last film.
Which is the last film. That last film is Colombiana, which is a Luc Besson written film, who's done Transporter, The Fifth Element, District 13 and Leon and all that sort of stuff. So he's a hardcore veteran action film man, and directed by possibly the best named director ever, Olivier Megaton.
I know. I had to avoid writing Megatron.
Yes, exactly. That's what I just thought. It's like Megatron. You can see this like huge robot directing the films, like God damn it!
Megatron was great in the old Transformers cartoons because it's massive robot, and he'd transform into a gun, but it would just go into someone's hand like that.
Well, thank God they didn't do that for the the new wave of films, but they made them even worse, I think.
Yeah, Michael Bay. Putting that to one side.
Screwed those films over so badly. But Colombiana is another action thriller from Luc Besson and Olivier Megaton. Such a good name. You could say that name over and over again and it would just be Olivier Megaton.
I'd love to have that name. It's like, what's your name? Megaton? No, Megatron.
No. But the film itself is pretty dull. Which really surprised me.
It surprised me as well.
It spent too long building itself up to what was inevitably going to be like a big explosive action sequences.
Yeah. But there were some surprising moments in there. There's a brilliant scene near the end where is she? She'll strike when she's ready. And then out of nowhere, a missile just flies in and...
Yeah! Oh, because she's meant to be this like subtle assassin that does everything and escapes away cleanly. No one ever knows who she is. And for like the loads of kills she's been doing, she leaves this like body art on her victims.
Yeah.
So that
a clue to
the people who killed her father can find her. which is the whole thing. Her father and mother have been killed, and she's been trained up by her gangster uncle, hasn't she, to be an assassin?
Yeah.
Which, as you do. But one thing I just didn't get about this film was that she's so confident and so kind of hell bent on getting back at the people who killed her parents. But then when stuff starts going down, when everything starts going up, and she obviously puts the people she's been caring for in danger, as is predictable enough with all these sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it is a fairly predictable film.
And the thing is, though, she's done this all to herself.
Yeah.
She's left the body art there, saying, come find me and all this sort of stuff, and, hinting at who she is and hinting to the FBI at who she is so they can publicise it and all this sort of stuff. And all this, random stuff that she's doing to alert them, and then she's upset when things go wrong. It's like, yeah, well, you kind of did it to yourself.
Yeah, it's one of those...
It just made me feel a little bit unsympathetic towards the character as a whole.
I didn't feel sorry for her because, like you said, she put those people in danger, didn't really care about what happened to them until it happened, and then it was...
And then she went, and it was overly emotional moment. She was like, oh my god, it wasn't me, but they're dead. It was you, and they are dead. Okay?
Yeah, it's just a little bit silly there, but...
Yeah.
There were some good moments in it, though. You had your explosions, your slow motion sequences. Sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah, there are... and it's true, the only problem is it takes so long to get there. It takes an hour and 10 minutes or so before it gets to any big blowing shit up sequences.
I mean, Luc Besson, I think he spent more time building... Yeah, he definitely spent more time building up the character in this one. It's kind of ran along the same lines as... Well, not the same lines, but similar to Leon.
It was, yeah. It's kind of similar to Leon, but then the fact is Leon didn't rely on the big explosive action sequences.
No.
Leon never went big. Leon was always very controlled and focused, wasn't it?
Yeah, until the last scene where he basically takes out...
Oh yeah, he goes and takes on the entire police force, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But apart from that, Leon never went big, and now he's started doing films like The Transporter and Fifth Element, which are just big. He can't really stop himself, I think.
True.
So the last half hour of that film felt completely different from
I know what you mean.
The rest of it.
The pace of the film, it starts off good. You have your shootings, and then just goes along slowly. Gets to the last 40, 30 minutes, and suddenly
yeah, you just have death after death after death. But and then there's another thing that really infuriated me about this film is the editing. All the shots cut together of action scenes, especially during the first sequence. You have the bit where she's 9 years old and she has to, she sees her parents get killed.
Yeah. And
she has to escape from her captors. And the editing was atrocious because I just didn't know what was going on. It was every single scene, every single shot was less than a second long.
I know, you do have to pay attention.
You do have to pay attention because it's just chop, 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 and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I can't see, where are they in relation to them? It's
on the plus side, I do love that sort. I happen to love that sort of editing where you can have one person, they'll be in a room,
and yeah, they'll just and then
out of nowhere.
But it's the fact that if she's running across the rooftops at a point, or she's running through loads of different rooms. And she jumps over a balcony onto a ledge below. And for that single thing of jumping onto a balcony onto a ledge below, they use 5 shots.
Yeah, got to make it as dramatic as they can.
Yeah, but it would have been fine if they just used one. I mean, films of the 80s and stuff. Mm. You've got films like Die Hard and all these sort of stuff.
Brilliant.
But they use they don't use that many edited shots.
No.
Because, there's always that shot on the rooftop for Die Hard where you've got the one guy, walking across the helipad to find McClane. And and there's that one continuous shot. My dad always goes on about this, and he says it's a brilliant thing of editing, where you start off with a shot with the guys who are shooting McClane on the rooftop, and then you pan up to the helipad, and there's another guy walking across, and he's got this big gun, and he's sneaking up on McClane, and then you move over again, and you see McClane. so you know where everyone is in relation to each other, and you do it in one shot. But this one, you have like 10 shots to explain where everyone is in relation to everyone else, and you know...
You've got me thinking, there's a Hitchcock film, it looks like the whole thing's been taken in one shot. It wasn't, but I can't think for the life of me what it's called.
There'll be someone, if someone wants to kind of... If someone like watches this episode this far and like wants to tell us what that film is...
Oh, what was it? It wasn't Not To Kill a Mockingbird, it was...
That's not The Birds.
No, it's the two blokes in the apartment, and...
Not Vertigo?
Not Vertigo.
The Rope? No, The Rope? No, not Rope.
Rope.
Rope, that's it.
That's
there you
it.
go, Rope.
And
I haven't seen it, but yeah,
we're
just going through Hitchcock films. Just go, which one was it?
Continuity-wise, though, it starts off in daylight, and it gradually gets darker. It was so brilliantly shot, because I honestly thought it was just shot, and Hitchcock was like...
Yeah, just one shot gone.
Yeah.
Like a play, you know. You do it like a play, and, you know...
But it was really well done.
But yeah, I wasn't impressed with Colombiana at all. Until like the last like half an hour, you're just like, yay, silly action, finally! And that's what... It seems a bit silly to expect that from Luc Besson, but that's what he does.
That's what he does great. I mean, Transporter films, Leon,
and he does like... Well, Leon was very, very serious compared to like his later work.
Leon was a really good film, mate.
But, yeah, he's done like loads of stupid action films that...
Oh, they're not stupid, they're beautiful.
They are stupid.
They're beautifully stupid.
Beautifully stupid. There we go. Luc Besson, beautifully stupid.
Like, come on, Transporter films, the scene in number 2 with the bomb underneath the car.
Oh,
come on, the actual scene in Transporter 2 where he drives up a ramp, the car spins round in the air. Imagine this as a crane. As the car's spinning round, the crane gets the bomb, the car spins back round again and lands on the ground. And in number 3, where the car gets dragged up from the bottom of the lake, and Jason Statham gets the whole thing working in less than 5 minutes.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Yeah. But and it's that sort of unbelievable rubbish that makes those films so much fun.
It's beautiful.
But this film didn't really have any of it in it. It took itself a little bit
too seriously,
and I wasn't expecting it to. Maybe that's what ruined it for me. But when it finally did get a bit silly, I wasn't. I stopped caring.
I do know what you mean. It took itself a bit too seriously, had a bit too much emotion in there, and at the same time threw in action sequences, basically.
Yeah, just randomly.
But overall, I thought, yes, it did have a slow pace, but I think it's still worth watching. It's a Saturday night film.
I don't know, if you've got nothing better to watch, maybe, but
sure.
I wouldn't rate this. I mean, I was harsh on this film. I give it a 3 out of 10. 3, yes. A lowly little 3.
I gave it a 6.
You gave it a 6. I really didn't enjoy it that much. I mean, until like the last half an hour, but like I said, it was too little too late.
I think it made... I know we keep saying the film dragged on, but the last half hour more than made up for it.
For me, it didn't. I just didn't really feel it at all. Comrade would let me down. But yeah, so you gave it 6, I gave it 3, and I think that will do us for that episode. And
brings us to the end of the show.
Yeah, end of the show for this week. So yeah,
thanks for watching.
Yeah, please, thank you for watching. Please, putting that thing in there. Yeah, I will see you back here next week.
Yeah,
same time, same place, I imagine. So yeah, we'll see you then.
It's going to be the same place.
It's going to be the same place. We'll change websites just for the random effect of it.
Take care.
Yeah. Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
Oh, that was a brilliant episode.
I love